Second born Mike, who is in joining ninth grade tomorrow, and then we have a little one who is 8, Rachel. So Rachel, Mike, and Naomi and Grace, and we live in the same station with Bob and Julie. Been in the States for 10 years and moved back. We always knew that God wanted us to go back to Kenya. I was a pastor for several churches before I came to the States for 6 years, and so when I came to do to study for further studies, my wife and I knew that we wanted to move back and serve in Kenya. And so that's why we did not pursue staying here, but God was God's plan. And so, and like Bob said, how we met and all of that, I just want to say that we had a lot of plans in how we can serve God in Kenya, but Mai Mahiu was not one of them. We had other places, and I used to pass by Mai Mahiu and tell God, you take care of those people. Mm-hmm. So one day he said, I want you to do it. And that was, of course, through Jim last year. As you heard, they started talking about the church plant, and there was actually even the idea of the bishop from Sudan coming and doing that with Kenya, and then that plan didn't sound like it was going to work. And so I was sharing with Jim as he asked me a question, and he said, I told him that I had done church plant before. I had planted 2 churches before I even came to the States. We were just talking, and he sat right up and just like, wow. And why, he felt that God was leading him to tell me that I'm the person who needs to do it. And so I prayed about it, and we had been there helping Bob and Julie. I did counseling and, with the children, my wife in the administration. So, and that was going to be for some time, so that as soon as Naomi's village is settled and there is more staff that can do the work, and we can move on and do what we wanted to do out in Naivasha and other places, not by Mahiu. So God grabbed me just before we went some different directions. So I was convinced that God wanted me to be a part of that. And so I accepted the call, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. It wasn't easy. Even when we came in January.
We were here in January.
Yeah. I knew that it must be my phone.
He's getting a call.
Yeah. And so I was still praying about it, and Bob and I talked about it a lot, because I have served with a denomination in the past, and I wasn't feeling comfortable. I mean, the way that the church was done in terms of having to focus on other priorities and traditions, and not focusing on worshiping God and serving God. And so I had started feeling like I'd rather work with children, orphans, and all that, and that's what we were doing. But also go and reach out to people in their villages. And so it was not an easy decision, but at this time I felt that I was convinced that that's what God wanted me to do, to now be the one that can lead the church plant. And I'm excited about it.
Can I interrupt briefly? What he's saying, and this may not, because I could recognize from an American perspective, you may not have heard what he was saying there. He had been with the denominational affiliation in the past called the AIC, the Africa Inland Church. And they plant churches, and they kind of control a lot of what goes on in those churches, and the structure and the traditions of those churches and how they have to be done. And he had not had a lot of interest when he came back to Kenya, going back into leading a church, because he was with that denomination. So instead, he wanted to just take care of orphans and go do ministry in villages and things like that. That's what he was saying. And so then when he was called to plant this church by Jim, initially it was like, the idea of not doing that through the Africa Inland Church, doing it in a way that would just be like a church that worships God. And this is, kind of a different structure outside of the traditional denominational affiliation he had. That was what he had to deal with, and he was struggling with that a lot when he came home in January, still trying to figure that out.
We have, in May, Jim, Shay, and Brian.
Oh, and also one more thing to mention, that whole mission station we live up on there that I talked about, Kajami Mission Station, 100% of that land and all those ministries, they're all owned by the Africa Inland Church, AIC. So they control the house I live in, the house he lives in, the Moffat Bible College I mentioned, both those hospitals, even the Rift Valley Academy that our children go to school at. They own all that land. They have control of all that. So they have a lot of political power and economic power and all those other things. So you should understand all that from the standpoint of coming out. And they don't always wield that power in the wrong way, but they do have it. Sometimes they do wield it in the wrong way, but they do have it.
Yeah, so after the conference in May, and after being here in January, February, talked about the church plant, and then went back, started planning for a conference, discipleship training, servanthood training with people from Mai Mahiu and people from IDP camp. And I started visiting more with those people and being there in those areas and trying to understand. And by the way, I had been there before, and I could tell that these people needed somebody who can listen to them. Because most of the time, especially like at the IDP camp, most people who went there, they either went to see how the situation is and just to maybe drop some food, and not that they couldn't commit to do anything beyond that, even their time to sit and listen to the stories that these people wanted to tell. And so having been there, and from a counseling perspective, my degree is in counseling, I spent time listening to these people as they tell their stories, and so I understood where they were coming from. And so a church that would give them an opportunity to come and fellowship and be able to share and be heard and embraced and invited, felt that that's what God wanted us to do. And so we invited some of these people to the conference in May. And then after the conference, which we were expecting to have about 20 people, then we ended up having about 70 that came out to the conference. It was very successful. So after that conference, then we were able to strategically go into the Mai Mahiu town and IDP, visiting women that are involved in the prostitution, over 600 women that are involved in that. And my wife has been able to go there with some of the teams that came out, visiting IDP with Joseph and Mai Mahiu. We also have another James and another James and a few other people that are on the team, core team, RVF core team. So it helped us to really understand what's going on and the need. And so initially Jim had thought, we could launch the church in September. And so we would just be doing the planning. And I couldn't wait after the conference. I said, the need is there, these are the people. Between May and September, who is going to be with them? What's going to happen to these people? We're going to be, they may see us the same as the people who have been there. They come and show that they care, and then after some time disappear. So I felt that gap was not necessary. So we said we have to start a fellowship, have to start home groups. I sent emails to Jim and DJ saying we've started home groups, we started a fellowship. And so we've been meeting once a month, our fellowship, and then we have weekly home groups. at IDP we have one home group that's been happening, and already we have a big group that we need to split so that they can meet at different places at different times. And then at Mai Mahiu we have two home groups. One is for married couples, and then the other one is for other people that have been coming. And the stories that we hear, it was very interesting and encouraging also to see people that have been waiting to have the opportunity to share and be heard and pray together. And we go to those home groups because my wife attended each one of them, and we go home different. It's just so amazing just to see what God can do in those home groups. And so those have been signs that God is in this. Like today, this month, today Sunday 26th was the Sunday that we pull those now home groups, plus other people in Mai Mahiu and IDP come and join the fellowship. So as we continued, we decided that now it's time that after talking in our core team, that it's time that we now begin doing weekly service. So September 16, when you're there, we will do evangelism from, you arrive on Wednesday, Thursday, and then you come, Thursday, you spend a night in Nairobi, you up on 14th, and then before Sunday, we will do visits in Mai Mahiu and door to door. And then on Sunday, we launch the church, so you'll be there for the church. We hope and our vision is also to include other children's home. The Naomi's Village and RVF, it will be a home church for RVF and IDP camp and people in Mai Mahiu. But we are also inviting other orphanages in Mai Mahiu to come and fellowship with us. We did one recently for Naomi's Village and another home called Valley Light, and it was so neat just to see how they can come and fellowship and eat together, the staff, the house moms and caretakers, and then the kids playing together. And we sort of wanted to start that with those two because we are involved, so that when we include others, we know how we need to do it. Because we also need to be sensitive, because there are some kids that haven't had that kind of a thing. And so this fellowship will include these orphanages and that may come, people of Mai Mahiu. So 16 is a big day. It will be a blessing to have you there. Mm-hmm. After the launch, then the following week, the remaining days, we will do evangelism at IDP camp. And each time we do house to house in the afternoon, we do an open air meeting where we have a large gathering, inviting people that we have been visiting. And that in Mai Mahiu will happen by the highway, just in the open field there. And there's a lot of people. So, and then at the IDP camp, we just do it right in the IDP camp, house to house, and then in the afternoon we do a large gathering for the IDP camp, kind of like a church there too. So I'm excited about it. My wife is excited. She's no longer at Naomi's Village because we've already hired a HR to take that position, and her and I strongly feel that we need to focus on the church plant, and she's already planning for visiting these women that are involved in prostitution business. That's a place that I can go alone, and she's doing very well. So she's also looking forward to the 16th. So any other?
Yeah, I guess one of the benefits we get, and hopefully the common theme you're hearing from Bob and Isaac is this is a unified. They're trying to break down walls that divide, whether that be through religion, whether that be through tribalism, whether that be through socioeconomic status, that kind of good stuff. So I hope that the taste that is now hopefully embedded deeper into the mouth is really, like Bob said, this is every mission trip has its miracles, and we pray God shows up on all of them, but God was merciful and invited us on. It just seems fairly historic in what we're doing out there and what God's doing out there, and just invited us to come play. So, we're here in the fourth quarter of this trip. We're leaving in, 3 weeks, if that. And so, with that always comes a little bit of, well, what's it really going to look like? How, am I going to feel comfortable there? What are the logistics? We had talked about evangelism. We're not a crew that is well seasoned in evangelism, but we all know and love the Lord, and so that's one of the reasons why I was really excited to talk with Isaac and Bob to kind of give us a vision for where it's gone, how have we gotten to this point, where is everything kind of structured and gotten us to this point, and then really hearing, especially from Isaac, on how we can be the hands and feet there, where we are going to be used, and it sounds like a lot of it is already well planned, which is good. That should hopefully give us some comfort that we're going to have some good direction in this. But Isaac, what are tangible ways? Help us. You're saying we get there, we roll in on Friday. Correct. We drive in on Friday into Kajabi or into that area.
When you fly into Nairobi that night, you will stay at Mayfield.
Okay.
I have already done the reservation.
Okay.
Then you'll be picked up on the morning of 15.
Okay.
By Shopkat, the couple that's been doing that with Bob and Judy. There are 2 vans.
For the people we mentioned that showed us that piece of land that we built Naomi's village on.
So they'll pick you up and...
Elisha.
And then...
You'll like him, he's a good guy.
Then from there, you'll be staying in Kajabi, in a house that Esther and I we've been building and finishing up, and it's a nice place. And then we'll be able to. We've already divided the list that I had gotten from Jim. We've done how you're gonna share the rooms. There's one room that's gonna have 4 people, and then another one is gonna have 6, and then that's 2 rooms, and then another 4 rooms will have two people. So it's bunk bed. So, but there's one couple, that the couple has their room. Okay. We set a room aside for them. So, and each of those rooms, they have bathrooms,
cable
shower.
TV.
Yeah.
The Cowboys.
Yeah. So we're trying to get the rooms finished, and the toilets are already fixed, and the electricity, we are now finishing up the rooms to make sure they have the floor tiles and water running. And so you'll be the first team that's going to stay there. So whatever will not be finished, but we'll make sure that all the basic, what you need, that will need to help you feel comfortable and all that, at least to rest. It's a bit quiet. It's a place that I think after going out and being out down at Mai Mahiu at IDP camp, our hope is that we can come back there and reflect on what God has been doing and pray together. And And so you don't need to later on have to continue with ministry. You come and pray, spend time talking about what happened, and then prepare for the next day. That's kind of how Esther and I thought that we can do it. And then the chokers, they will be driving you to Mai Mahiu every day for the evangelism. And then there is one day, I can't remember which one, it's a day that you will spend time with kids at Naomi's village and eat together, do activities. So there is a day that you're going to be able to do that. There's a day to go out to see animals, Naivasha. Yeah. I think a day also or half the day, just to be able to visit Kijabi and those that haven't been able to go there. So that's about sleeping, and we show you enjoy the food. So, I think that's about it.